What's going on, you bunch of heathens? Today we are checking out another oversimplified video. It has been a hot minute since I checked any other videos out. Last one on the channel, I believe, was the Cold War Part 2 a while ago. But this one popped into my recommendations recently, and I was like, oh, I haven't watched them in a while. I really did enjoy them. And this is a war that I know absolutely nothing about, so it'll be really cool to actually check out something and learn about it over something I don't know. So this should be really fucking fun. Make sure you guys go and check out the original. It'll be linked down below. Give them their love. And without further ado, let's jump in.
This video was made possible by NordVPN. Click the link below and get an exclusive deal with a huge discount and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Introducing
2 years
our
old.
new, glorious, breathtaking bucket plushie. Limited quantity.
Really?
Available now, along with some Punic War character pins. Buy
I mean,
them
not
or I'll
anymore.
marry your
2 years
mother.
old.
It's your choice.
Okay, rude.
Oh, Marcellus, you sure have a lot of dignitas. Kiss me. Okay.
What the fuck?
Hey, Dad. Hi, son. Just reading the newspaper. What can I do for you? Well, you know how you always say Rome is the greatest civilization in the world? It bloody well
I love that. I got 99 problems, but Rome ain't one. That's good.
is. Well,
I
was
like
just
that.
wondering, what makes us so great? How did we come to be? Wow, my son. Boy, let me take you on a journey to this side of the room.
Wow.
The story of Rome begins with these beautiful baby boys going to town on some.
Wait, what'd that say?
Story of Rome.
We're entirely mythical.
Begins with
Okay.
These beautiful baby boys going to town on some she-wolf mommy milkers. That's gross. You're gross. Sorry, son. You're not gross.
The way you said it was fucking gross. Like, the story itself, not bad. The way you said it, she-wolf mommy milkers. That was out of line and that was out of pocket.
Romulus and Remus, and when they grew up in 753 BC, they founded Rome. But there was just one problem. They couldn't agree on which of them should be the king. But they worked it out peacefully, right?
Haha,
Romulus
no.
beat Remus's skull in with a shovel.
I'm sorry, what? That's crazy, but sorry, kid, this is human history. It's almost never peacefully.
Our first king committed fratricide? I know. Look at his face. When's the part where we become the greatest civilization, Dad? Well, you see, at first Rome was full of men. I'm talking like a real sausage party. You know what I mean? Yes, sir. So we invited some neighboring cities over for a big feast. And then we literally kidnapped all of their women. Here's a picture. Look at that one. She's like... This is messed up. You're messed up.
Wow.
Sorry. I'll be a better father. I promise. So then, finally,
Poked him in the
centuries
eye.
of monarchy, those tyrannical kings started getting a little too big for their britches. So we overthrew the kings and established Rome as a republic. Is that when all the killing stopped?
No.
That's when the killing surged, baby. We went wild and conquered the Latin League, the Samnites, the Etruscans. Woo! What a rush. Dad, Rome seems pretty barbaric. You're barbaric! Oh,
How dare
I forgot
you?
to tell you about the time a prophet told Saturn his son would one day overthrow him. So Saturn literally ate his own son seconds after he was born. I don't want to see a picture. Here's a picture.
God damn.
Look at that! That's messed up, man. Are we really
Oh,
this uncivilized?
fuck. That's some real Attack on Titan shit.
Hey! If we were so uncivilized, would we use communal toilets where we all fart and poo together in one big stinky, steamy, dirty toilet room? Yeah, Dad. We would. Clean your butt with a sponge, Timulus. But all these guys just used it. What's wrong with your son, bro? I don't want to be Roman. This is so weird.
Oh, that's gross.
Sorry, you're not weird. I'm sure you're probably...
No! Nah, bro, I'm crashing out on that.
The Roman Republic.
Nah, bro. I'm crashing out over that shit. Literally.
Italian peninsula. But this isn't the famous Roman Empire that ruled the known world. Not yet anyway. This is a relatively juvenile Rome, still just a regional power. In 264 BC, the big daddy of the Western Mediterranean was Carthage. Let's rewind a bit. Carthage was founded in 814 BC, when some Phoenicians in Tyre had a mega surplus of goods and decided to export those goods across the Mediterranean. They became
Smart.
the dominant trading power in the region, and to support their growing trade network, the Phoenicians established a number of colonies, one of which was Carthage. Therefore, Carthage began its life as a Phoenician trade colony, and the Carthaginians
Dude, that looks cool.
were actually Phoenicians, or
I'm assuming that because it's... Does Carthage look like that still, or did it... Now I gotta look it up. What does Carthage look like nowadays? Picture. Oh, no, it's all rubble now, more or less. That kind of sucks.
if you're a Latin-speaking Roman, they were Punic, hence the name of the video. Over the centuries, Carthage gradually expanded and became the region's base of power. Just like Rome, Carthage was a semi-democratic republic with its own senate and judiciary. But there were also some pretty hefty differences between the two. While Rome was
like
big
what?
into farming and stabbing people in the neck, the Carthaginians, on the other hand, just like their Phoenician forefathers, had built their power through trade and navigating the waves. They went here and there, selling ivory tusks, gold, and slaves. And as a result, they were rolling in it.
Yeah, they
Whenever
were.
They weren't busy swimming around in their copious hoards of money. In their spare time, they also possibly enjoyed sacrificing their children to Baal, the god of... Let me just check my notes. Ah, yes. Plant fertility. Oh boy, these figs aren't looking too hot. Maybe if I throw my son into a burning pit of fire, they'll grow. Have you tried watering them, Dad? No, we'll try that second. As a result of all their
Okay,
trade-
let's be real here. Everyone had some kind of sacrificial shit.
Carthage had emerged as one of the
At one point or
Mediterranean
another.
superpowers. But wait, they said. Rome? What the heck is that? Well, I know it's a pretty obscure little country that you've probably never heard of. But this spunky young nation was about to upset the entire region's balance of power. Initially, the two sides enjoyed relatively friendly relations, and had even signed a couple treaties. But it was a relationship that was practically destined to turn sour.
God damn!
Rome had a thing where they liked to aggressively expand their boundaries.
They're
viewing such
expansionists.
expansion as a defensive act. Kinda like when you kill your neighbor, because you knew eventually they would have tried to kill you first.
Well, fuck. What was the country that tended to do that in more modern times? Was it? It was kind of like, hey, they might do this, so I'm gonna attack them
Meanwhile,
first.
Carthage
I
was
think
extremely
Russia's
protective of
did
its
that.
wealthy trade network. So if you put a very strategically important island between them, well, 2 + 2
Equals war. Yeah.
Tensions rose, and the two sides began viewing each other with increasing disdain. The hard-working Romans looked across the water at the money-hungry Carthaginians and said, "Look at those dishonest crooks. Bet they've never done an honest day's work in their lives." And the Carthaginians looked back and said, "Look at those simple-minded brutes. Bet they've never sacrificed a baby in their lives." Yeah. While war between the two
Okay,
superpowers
Romans
seemed
did that
inevitable,
too.
the event that finally
Think so
triggered
anyway.
was a little unexpected. The whole thing began with a few simple mad lads on a wild night out. These mad lads are called the Mamertines. They were Italian mercenaries employed by the tyrant of Syracuse here. But when he died, his successor said, "Sorry fellas, we don't need any big burly men with sharp sticks anymore. You can all go home." The Mamertines, as it turned out, didn't want to go home. So instead, they went to the nearby town of Messana and said, "Hey man, we are but poor little buff boys without a home. May we come in?" Aw, poor fellas. Sure thing. Just so long as you promise not to massacre all of us.
That happens, doesn't it?
We promise. The Mamertines then massacred all of them. Well, not all of them, just the men. And they stole their homes and families. Ha! This is my house now. This is my best dad ever mug now. And you guys are my new family. Son, wanna go play catch with your old papa? You're not my real dad! Ugh.
You're making a light of this. There's a lot of rape about this, wasn't there?
Teenagers. Am I right, dear? You're not my real husband. Ugh, I'm so trapped in this marriage. Then get out. No, Messana was now controlled by the Mamertines, and they began raiding up and down the Syracuse coastline. When the new ruler of Syracuse saw this, he wasn't happy.
I wouldn't be either.
Began fighting back, and in response, the Mamertines
Those are some
said,
cool flags.
Crap, they're fighting back? What do we do? Quick, we'll convince the Carthaginians to come and save us. Oh no! We're in trouble. And we need a big, strong empire to come and rub our bellies. Why are you saying it like that? If I was a big, strong empire...
Yeah, why are you saying it like that?
To be seduced. See?
Oh, God.
It's working. The Carthaginians had long dreamed of controlling all of Sicily. They had been fighting Syracuse and their Greek influence on the island for centuries. And now, here was a great opportunity.
Yeah, this is like makes sense. This is the best opportunity to do it.
So Carthage promptly answered the Mamertines' cry for help and sent a force to garrison Messana. As it turned out, however, some within the ranks of the Mamertines weren't too happy with the occupying Carthaginians, and they sent out a second cry for help to Rome. When it reached the Roman
Wow.
Senate, they were a little more hesitant.
You fucking snitches.
Going to help the Mamertines ran the risk of triggering an all-out war with Carthage, and they had only just finished conquering the Italian peninsula, so they were kind of tired. Plus, the Mamertines were all the way across the water. They had never made a leap like that before. So you would assume that to avoid any conflict with Carthage, the exhausted Romans would probably sit this one out.
They don't, though.
You would assume wrong.
No, I don't assume that they did. I would assume.
A good chance for war.
Of course not.
Well, there's something you gotta understand about Rome. See, as a republic, they were hell-bent on preventing any one man from ever gaining too much power. And so rather than having one leader, Rome had two, called consuls, who shared power. These consuls could also only serve for 1 year at a time before new consuls were elected.
Oh.
These measures to limit the powers of the consuls were noble, but had an interesting side effect. The consuls knew they had just 1 year to try and gain as much glory and prestige as possible.
Oh, God.
Was very important in Roman society.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah. With a country that's super society, that's a super based around that. Yeah, they would do everything in their power to make it so that the history books would remember them.
The best way of gaining glory and prestige?
War.
Military victory, of course. The
Yeah, it's the
political
easiest.
system basically ended up encouraging these consuls to go out and be as aggressive as your Italian grandmother when you don't eat all the spaghetti. And so the glory-seeking consuls convinced the people to vote in favor of going to Messana. And in
Of course they did.
went. Upon the arrival of the Romans, the Carthaginians in the city, amongst the confusion, were forced to leave. Now, in contrast to Roman aggression, the Carthaginian military had a slightly different philosophy.
Oh,
All right,
what?
kids, listen up. If you want to grow up to be Carthaginian military leaders, there's a few things you have to understand. If you fail to succeed on the battlefield, that's a crucifixion. Showing cowardice. That's a
Oh.
crucifixion. Hello, sir. What are you doing here? Aren't you meant to be in Messana? Yeah, but the Romans showed up. So you just left? Sure did. Oh, you better believe that's a crucifixion.
Oh, so it's like the closest I could get to it is like the Bushido Code of Honor for Japan in World War II, where they do not accept surrender. It's death before dishonor. And dishonor is, oh, okay. Okay, I get it.
The Roman consuls were awarded for victory, and therefore tended to be aggressive go-getters. By contrast, the Carthaginian generals were brutally punished for failure, and so they tended to be more cautious and restrained. This
Makes
dynamic
sense.
is helpful for understanding some of the crazy things that happened during the Punic Wars. So, the Romans have crossed over to Messana, and now there was some red on the island. Hit that panic button. This turn of events was unacceptable to both Carthage and Syracuse, so the traditional enemies teamed up to kick the Romans off their island.
Yeah,
They
enemy of my
surrounded
enemy is my friend.
the city and said, "Hey, you jerks! This isn't your island. Come out of there at once."
Okay, we're coming.
See, Phil, you just gotta speak with authority. That's
Oh,
what being
but
an
nope.
alpha male's all about. Hey, man.
Considering this is talking about the start of the Roman Empire.
Oh, you brought your weapons and armor? No, I didn't mean. Oh crap. Out the Roman legions came to engage the Carthaginians in battle, and they sent them packing. With
Oh.
the Battle of Messana, whether intended or not, by going to help the Mamertines, the two sides had just slipped into an all-out war. With the initial Roman victory, towns across Sicily, including
Yep, and
Syracuse, began
the Carthaginians aren't aggressive enough to combat
switching
them.
allegiance, because being a winner is more fun. But the Carthaginians weren't about to just
Of
give
course.
up that easily. In 262 BC, they began building up their forces at Agrigentum. So the Romans, being aggressive go-getters, aggressively go-got them. The Romans immediately laid siege, hoping to starve out the Carthaginian garrison. However, because this was the first time Rome had been fighting outside the Italian peninsula, across the water, they
Oh, their logistics suffered, of
to
course.
supply their forces, and before long, the Romans were as starving as the Carthaginians they were besieging. They had to forage for food, leaving them open to ambush. And when Carthaginian reinforcements arrived, creating a double siege, things got really bad. Everybody starved each other for months until nobody could
God.
take it anymore, and they all finally came out for battle, which Rome won. Here's the
Really?
recent siege at Agrigentum, sir.
We killed 30,000 while only suffering 7,000 losses? That's amazing! We're the best!
Yes, sir. Whoops, those are the wrong way around.
What? We lost 30,000?
Oh, shit. The fact they still won is insane, but that's an insane ratio. That's, what, more than 4 times the amount of casualties?
We're
Holy
the
shit.
worst. But we won, right? Yes, sir. But we also got our asses kicked. Yes, sir. So are we the best or the worst?
Like a Pyrrhic victory, I guess?
Sir.
The Romans won at Agrigentum because they were aggressive go-getters, and they now began eyeing up the possibility of conquering the entire island. But they also suffered very heavy losses, and it was clear they couldn't sustain a campaign if they couldn't supply their troops. Here's the issue. Sicily was an island. Islands are surrounded by water. A strong navy would be vital for supplying troops and winning the war. Here was Carthage's navy, and here was
Yeah,
Rome's.
Roman. I can't remember if the Romans actually had a fairly good. I can't remember if they had a
Debate just how much naval experience Rome had at this point.
okay. From what I've heard, they didn't have that great of a navy historically. I don't think, because the Romans and the Greeks get compared a lot. I think the Greeks technically had
Presumably, they
better
must have had
navies,
something
I
to
think.
defend their shoreline. But whatever it was, it would have paled in comparison.
I'm
to
not
the
positive. I'm probably
Carthaginian
way
shoreline.
off.
And so Rome had to figure out exactly what to do about all this water.
Come on, men. We're not gonna let some pansy candy-ass water get in the way of our glorious victory against Carthage. Charge!
Shit, I can't swim.
Tell my kids I love them.
And to
We're
use
gonna
the
need to create a
sponge.
boat. What's a boat?
I don't know.
If the Romans wanted to win this war and obtain Sicily, there was only one thing for them to do. I guess we're just gonna have to go ahead and build ourselves a war fleet, aren't we? From scratch? From scratch. But we don't even know how. Never mind how to fight with one. Don't worry, Hank. We're up to the challenge. Come on, guys.
Get
We're
advisors, I
Romans,
guess. Oh,
and Romans aren't
worms.
afraid of anything. And so, the Romans worked long and hard trying to figure out how on earth you actually build the latest style of warship. In the end,
Goddamn.
they had a bit of luck on their side. A Carthaginian quinquereme ended up accidentally grounding on Italian soil. The Romans found it and copied the design. While the new fleet was being built,
Smart.
the Romans trained rowers on land. And would you believe it? The Romans put together a full fighting fleet of
Oh, that poor seagull.
20 warships in just 2 months. A staggering
Damn.
Now, I know what you're
2 months? That's really fucking quick.
Simplified. If the Romans can build a war fleet from scratch in 2 months, then why does it take you half a year to make a video? Well, my valued subscriber, I think you should shut up.
What the heck? How?
Well, you got a bunch of scripting, animation, editing. Research in general would take quite a bit. structure. There's quite a bit that goes into it for these kinds of
The Romans
videos.
learn how to build a war fleet. This shouldn't be happening. From what I hear, they copied the design from us, sir. Well, how on earth did they get the blueprint, Carl? I don't know, sir.
Carl?
Well, tell you what. If you're worried about people stealing your data, no, and you want to protect yourself from outside threats, don't you dare. Then you might.
Yeah, don't do
If
it.
you mention NordVPN, I'll scream. Should use NordVPN.
Okay, skipping this ad because this is a 2-year-old video.
Now,
Okay.
where were we? Oh, yeah. The siege at Agrigentum, supply issues, and building
A war fleet.
So now the Romans have a navy, and it's time to put it to the test. But how does one wage ancient naval warfare? Easy.
I actually don't
All of the
know.
ships had giant bronze rams on the front, so all you had to do was outmaneuver the enemy and give him the jimmies.
Oh,
Easy
really?
as pie. And so the
That's
aggressive
insane
Romans
naval
set out for
warfare.
Some good old-fashioned Jimmy giving.
I actually didn't know that's how they was
Gnaeus
done.
Cornelius Scipio set out for the town of Lipara, believing the garrison there wanted to join the Romans. As he entered the harbor, however, he found himself trapped by a Carthaginian fleet, and in the following skirmish, he was completely outmatched. The Romans may have had a brand new fleet, but
Yeah, but they don't have experience in actually engaging in combat with it. That's the big issue. It's you may have a new one, but you don't know how to use it.
engaging in actual combat, their inexperience showed. There was just something better about the Carthaginian ships. The Carthaginian rowers had nicer abs. The entire Carthaginian empire had been built on expert seamanship.
Yeah.
So, when it came to water, the Carthaginians were better, and the Romans were wetter. In their initial skirmish, the Romans were beaten so badly that the consul, Scipio, was given a nickname, Asina. And if you're wondering what that means, just
Asinine.
drop the Ina. So what were the Romans to do? How could they possibly stand up to this Carthaginian superpower? Well, there's something you gotta understand about the Romans. Back when they found that Carthaginian ship and copied its design, that wasn't a
What about the-
one-off thing.
Yeah, what about the
Copying
men?
Their enemies was as Roman as punishing murderers by sewing them into a leather pouch with a monkey, snake, and rooster, and then throwing them into a river, which is a thing they did. Wait, what was I
Why?
talking about? Oh yeah, copying their enemies. Many of the most famous Roman inventions were actually borrowed. Aqueducts, chariot racing, their gods. Even in warfare, the Romans would get pierced by a Sabine javelin, and they'd be like, wow. They'd get hacked to bits by an Iberian sword, and they'd be like, wow. And they'd copy the designs for themselves. However,
mean, pretty
they
smart.
wouldn't just copy it. They would advance it, finding ways to adapt it as perfectly as possible. And in the
Makes
case of
sense.
naval
That's
warfare,
smart.
the Romans realized if they wanted to beat the Carthaginians at their own game, they would have to adapt. The Romans excelled at combat on land, not on water. But what if, they said, we could somehow turn a sea battle into a land battle?
Oh,
Sounds
boarding the
crazy,
other ship,
right?
I'm assuming?
Well, they made a couple of tweaks to their warship, and look, here they come again. They must love getting their asses kicked. Sir, what's that toll thing sticking out of their ships?
They're gonna come board it.
They really are idiots. Look at that thing. That'll make them blow over. I mean, look at... Bob! Bob! Get your camera out. Take a picture of it. I mean, how stupid can you be? Let's just add a big wooden tower to our ship that'll weigh us down and blow us over in the wind.
Until it latches on.
What does that thing even do?
Damn!
The Romans had built a big swinging spiked gangway called the corvus. So when
That's
the
cool.
Carthaginian ships approached to ram them, the Romans would just slam them. The Carthaginians tried going around, no problem. The corvus could swivel. Try going behind, the Romans would huddle to the coastline. It was foolproof. Those big, sexy Carthaginian rowing muscles could flex all they want, but they were no match for the Roman mind. So ladies, you see, what really matters is what's on the inside.
Okay. Okay.
Show out with me. And with that, the Romans, who had only just recently
That was
began dabbling
crazy.
in the art of naval combat, thanks to their ingenious corvus, had just managed to outclass the Mediterranean seafaring superpower, the Carthage.
The fact that it happened so quickly, they adapted really fast. That's cool.
And the general in charge of the defeated Carthaginian fleet? Well, you better believe that's a crucifixion. With their newfound control of the seas, the Romans could now more easily blockade coastal cities and supply their legions on land. Surely, the Romans were now free to unleash their aggression all over the island. Haha! Hey Carthaginians, what are you gonna do now that we're free to rampage across the island? We're gonna go inside these walls and close this gate.
Smart.
Oh, come on, guys. Stop messing around. Come out so we can kill you. No.
Starve them out, I guess. Another siege.
Oh, no.
To counter the new Roman supremacy, the Carthaginians decided to engage in a defensive war of attrition, forcing the Romans to engage in siege. After lengthy siege, the war in Sicily became a long, hard, back-and-forth slug. One by one, cities slowly fell as the Romans gained ground. Occasionally, the Carthaginians countered and even pushed them back, only for the Romans to rebound again. And whenever a city did finally fall, the Romans could delight in slaughtering the entire population and selling any survivors into slavery, which
Yep.
was pretty standard procedure at the time. In
Very much
the
so.
campaign on land was progressing much slower than the Romans had hoped, and
But also, I also want to know, what are the, how many casualties are they taking, considering it was 7,000 to 30,000 in the last siege that they
quite
did?
frankly, they were getting sick of it. So in 256 BC, they decided that something had to change. Hey everyone, my name's Marcus Attilius Regulus, and I'll be one of your consuls for this year. Look, as I'm sure you all know, Sicily's being a bit of a drag. Sure, I could go and spend my entire year as consul besieging one single city, but they'll never make a naked statue of me for that. So here's the new plan.
They're gonna skip, I was gonna say skip it entirely?
And go right for the heart of Carthage itself. I'll slaughter the men, enslave all the women and children, and when I return, you'll all build 1,000 naked statues of me.
Smart plan in theory, I guess, maybe.
Marcus, that women and children stuff, that seems pretty evil and barbaric. No,
Are we
Jews,
the
perfectly
baddies?
normal in the ancient world. Sometimes we even chop their pets in half. Okay, guys, looks like the Romans are coming straight for us this time. And what will they do when
I
they
love
get
that.
here? They'll kill us.
Fucking Marcus just having that, are we the baddies? They have the,
So-
are we the baddies
They'll
moment?
massacre each and every last one of us. They may even chop our pets in half. That's barbaric! No, Rob, it's
Aw.
actually pretty normal for the time. We'd do
Poor
the same to
Rob.
them. Who'll protect us? Funny you should ask, Mary. That's kind of why I called this meeting. Who will protect us? Protect our families, our homes, our children. You guys? Ha! Don't make me laugh. Why, you're just a bunch of stupid and weak farmers. Simple-minded buffoons.
A hell of a
Cowards.
fucking speech.
Fools.
Okay,
Rob
buddy.
here thinks enslaving women and children is barbaric.
Okay, buddy, you're landing on a bit thick.
You're a snowflake, Rob. Yes, you are. The fact is, if the Romans manage to land on African soil, we're all gonna die. A terrifying, hideous, unspeakably painful death. Is that
Okay.
the end of that speech?
Yeah, anything else in there?
Yes.
Okay, so just civil unrest. Got it.
Carthaginians had to stop the Romans from ever landing in Africa because they believed that would be the end. So as the Romans were building an invasion fleet, the size of which the world had never seen before, the Carthaginians were preparing an even bigger one to stop them. And in 256 BC, as the Roman invasion fleet made its way south, the stage was set for a humongous battle that saw 680 warships, around 300,000
Ooh,
men,
shit.
fighting to decide the course of the war. To this day, the Battle of Cape Egnomus remains possibly the largest naval battle in human history. All the
God, like 350 versus like, what did I say, 340? Like the amount of people, like, that many people, it was like, how many people landed in Normandy? It was 150,000-ish, I want to say. Like, that's insanely big. Doubling that all on the water with that many ships is fucking insane.
So the next time your granddad tells you about the time he sank a Japanese aircraft carrier, kick him in the nuts. The Romans had a lot
Okay,
of
don't
money
do
in this
that.
battle. They weren't just sending their warships, but transports as well, full of supplies and horses for their invasion of Africa. They therefore formed a protective wedge-like formation to punch through the long, thin Carthaginian line. The
Smart to do.
Carthaginian generals, however, desperate to prevent the Romans from reaching Africa, had a plan of their own. As the Roman fleet approached, the Carthaginian center feigned a retreat, luring the Romans in so their outstretched flanks could
encircling
get
them.
around the Roman corvus. A clever plan. But with such a huge battle and so many ships crowded together, the Carthaginians struggled to maneuver as hoped. And in the chaos, 3 separate battles emerged across the huge battle space. With the number of ships limiting their ability to maneuver, the Carthaginians became sitting ducks, and all the Romans had to do was start swinging. The Roman center came out on top, and were then able to turn around and rescue their pinned down flanks. The battle of Cape Egnomus was a Roman
30 to 40,000. I mean, still quite a few survived.
victory.
Oh, that's the end. Okay. See how you guys like this one, and either I do it cover it on the channel, or I'll watch it in my free time. Either one works for me. This was interesting, though. Didn't have as much to contribute, but it's whatever. This was pretty interesting, though. Make sure you guys check out the original. It's linked down below. Like, comment, subscribe, and until next time, take care of yourselves. See ya.